Yes, I'd like to now invite to facilitate the Q&A session with you. I'd like to welcome Mr. Cliff Go from Swan Capital. Now, Cliff has been in private banking and wealth management since 1992. He was recognised as one of the key business leaders from Schroders when they bought the wealth management, asset management and advisory business from Commonwealth Bank of Australia, Singapore in 2008, and was appointed Executive Director and Advisory of Schroder & Company Asia Limited. In early 2011, Cliff started his own financial boutique, Swan Capital Private Limited, and is currently an entrepreneur in residence at ECM. Please give him a warm round of applause, Mr. Cliff Go.
Jim, it's very engaging what you have done, and it is actually like almost like a blueprint how a successful life goes. But I heard you about passion. At what stage in your life did you already understand your passion?
Well, that's a very, very good question. I had my first job when I was 5 years old, believe it or not. I used to pick up the empty bottles at sporting events. I got paid 5 cents for every 24 that I picked up. And I remember, I was 5 years old, and I remember one night I made $1.15. I couldn't believe how much money, and you've got to understand, at 5 years old, in the backwoods of Alabama, $1.15, US $1.15, was so much money. I went home and gave my brother half of it. I couldn't believe how much money I had. And one night I remember, and these are things that I was 5. One night it was a slow night, and I only made 10 US cents. I was so distraught and disappointed that the old lady running the show gave me an extra 5 cents, which made my night. So I guess at an early age I realized the value of money, that it was hard to get, and that one had to work hard to get it. I subsequently, when I got the concession myself when I was 6, this is a very small town in the backwoods. You couldn't do this in New York or Singapore or someplace these days. But I got the concession myself and made money, and I, for whatever reason, my parents taught me the importance of earning money and how hard it is to get. We make our little girls save their money. They have piggy banks. In fact, they have 6 or 7 piggy banks. They have one for Singapore dollars, one for US dollars. We're trying to teach them about foreign exchange, too. While they're at it, they have to save their money. They have to earn their money. Happy, the older one, recently noticed that at her bank account, she has a Singapore bank account, that at her bank account, her little sister had more money than she did, and she asked why that was, and we reminded her that she went and bought a Barbie doll one day. I assure you she's not bought a Barbie doll since. She's so distraught that her little sister has more money. So we're trying to teach our children about the value of earning money, that it is hard to get, and one has to work and save it in order to be successful. There was a study done by a major American university which showed that the single most important element to determining whether a person became happy in life, later life, was what they did one thing that they did as a teenager, and that was that if children have a job as a teenager, it's more important than anything else in determining their future happiness. So obviously we're determined. They learn that money is hard to get, and that they will have jobs when they're teenagers too. It certainly makes sense to say that children have to learn at an early age what money is all about. So I learned at a very early age. I knew nothing about Wall Street until I stumbled on Wall Street as a summer job after I finished. I would have worked for nothing if I could have afforded it. I loved it that much. So in the summer of when I was 21 years old, I just finished Yale, was off to Oxford. That's when I learned about the financial world and how much I loved it, and I never looked back.
Now, if you have this passion of making money, I think it's passion a lot of us have, but also sometimes it creates for us a limitation as well, because you said passion, you said, well, you like to travel, so you made at one point likely enough to say, okay, enough is enough, I'm going to see you. I know a lot of people would like to do the same thing because of the security of money. You go there and you
Well, first of all, I want to emphasize it was not making money that that I loved about Wall Street. Yes, it was great the fact that they paid me a lot of money if I did it well. Yeah, they paid me more money than I dreamed of living in the backwoods of Alabama. No, I love the game. I loved waking up every day and having to figure out what was going to happen in the future. And of course, everybody else in the world was doing the same thing. And so it was a constant, it was a three-dimensional puzzle. You had to change, but every day you came to work, and they changed the pieces, and they changed everything around. So you had, every day was a constant, that was what I loved. That was the exciting part. I didn't really care about the money so much. As I said, I would have done it for nothing if I could have afforded it. But it so happens that they also paid me a lot of money. It's like the gardener I told you about before. That gardener just loves gardening, and that gardener's going to make a huge fortune if he continues because he loves it so much. That's how it was with me. And as far as finally quitting and seeing the rest of the world, well, I had always wanted, I told you back then, sitting back there in the backwoods of Alabama, I always wanted to see the world. I used to talk about it. I didn't know what I was talking about. I promise you, I had no clue what I was talking about when I was a teenager. I used to tell my girlfriend at the time, gosh, I'm 16, I've never seen much of anything. She said, I've seen a lot of stuff. I've been to the Capitol, I've been to Birmingham. I said, no. I mean, she's talking about it within the state of Alabama. I said, I know, I want to see places like Russia, Singapore. I want to see the world. And so when I was fairly young, I was 37. I had made, what to me at that time was a lot of money. So I decided to stop and fulfill my next dream, which was to see the world. And so I hope that all of you, if you have dreams, if you want to change your life and you make some money, don't be afraid. Because if you don't do it, if you don't change your life, you're never going to change your life. And I was afraid that I would wake up one day and I would be 75 years old. I'd still be sitting there in front of a computer screen on Wall Street. And people would say, well, he was a great investor, but didn't do much else. No. I didn't care that much about money. I had some money, but I wanted to fulfill some more of my dreams. So please, and I used to think about it when I was setting off around the world on my motorcycle. I might get killed riding around the world on a motorcycle. But I said to myself, at least I'm going to die happy. I'm going to die doing the things I want to do, and that's better than walking down the street on Wall Street and to get by a bus. So I set off to fulfill my dreams, and I don't know how to say it anymore. No matter how mad your dreams may be, pursue them.
Well, now you jump 40, 50 years, and it looks like you have done most of your passions and film and travel the world, saw 122 countries, 116 countries. Now, if you look back now you're almost 70, and I think most things you did. Is there anything that comes to mind that you said, well, if I ever had another 70 years, what would I have done differently?
Well, let me tell you, I have made a lot of mistakes in my life, Chris. Let me tell you about my first wife. If you want to, hear about mistakes, for goodness sake. No, I made so many mistakes in my life. I can tell you an mistake. I could write a whole book or two about mistakes I've made as an investor. And I want you to know that every mistake I've made as an investor is that I didn't do enough homework. Usually I got cocky or arrogant and thought that it's easy, and invariably that led to a mistake in the investor world, and I lost money. I would like to be able to blame it on an advisor or the media or somebody I listened to. Nope, none of those. It's always my fault when I lost money, and any of those of you who want to blame it on your broker or blame it on the Straits Times or something, don't bother. Because when you make mistakes, it's only because, at least in my case, it's only because I haven't done enough to make sure I know what I'm doing. So if you're going to be an investor, and this is extremely important, and most of you are not going to pursue this, but if you want to be a successful investor, whether you're in the financial world or not, you have to pursue only what you know a lot about. Everybody in this room knows a lot about something. I don't know what you know about, but it's fashion or cars or sports or something. But you know a lot about something. If you want to be a successful investor, that's what you focus on. If you know about cars, you start thinking who's got new cars or new parts or new developments or new highways or new plants or new hotels or or something where people are going to travel to, you focus on what you already know a lot about. And then you'll find good investments because you will know when something dramatic is changing. You'll know long before I will, long before Chris will, because this is your passion. And that's what you're studying, reading about anyway. When you go home at night, you watch television about cars. You read magazines about cars. You read books about cars. So when you see something dramatic, a change which is coming, then start looking at the companies and do some homework, and you will find major new investments long before I will, long before Chris will, and that's how you'll get very, very rich. You will also know when to sell those investments long before I will, long before Wall Street will, because you know when changes are coming, which are going to make something different. So just stay with what you know. Everybody wants a hot tip. I cannot tell you how many people say, just tell me one thing to buy. I mean, that is insane. Even if I told you to buy X, and you went and bought X at 10, because Chris told you to buy X. You don't blame it on Chris for a moment. You went and bought X at 10. Well, if it went to 20, you wouldn't know what to do. You don't know why you bought it. You don't have a clue. All you know is that Chris told you to buy it at 10 and went to 20. You would go around saying to everybody, I'm really smart. You know, I bought this at 10 and now it's 20. But you don't have a clue what to do with it, whether to sell it, buy more. Likewise, let's say you bought it at 10 because Chris told you and it went to 5. You don't know what to do. You do know you're going to curse Chris. You're going to say, that SOB told me to buy it. I wouldn't have bought it if it weren't for Chris, you know, telling me to buy this thing, this dog. So you'll complain and curse, but you don't know what to do. Maybe you should buy more, maybe you should sell it. So don't listen to all of that. Don't listen to gurus. Don't listen to the Straits Times or the Media Corp or Wall Street Journal or anything else. Just focus on what you know. If you really want to get rich, focus on what you yourself know. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to Chris. And that's how you'll get very, very rich. You'll make many fewer mistakes that way. Back to your question, Chris, I made a whole lot of mistakes in my life. But fortunately, I'm still alive.
By the way, we have here an audience. I'm sure there are lots of questions among the audience. I would like to suggest and invite any of you to stand up if you have a question at this point of time.
Jim, I understand that you did invest in some sugar plantation in Brazil. Which part of Brazil is that?
For those of you who may not have heard the question, do we have a microphone that we can hear? Okay, let him say it again so that everybody can hear it.
Jim, I understand that you did invest in some sugar plantation in Brazil. Which part of Brazil is that? Who manages it for you?
Okay. I'm not going to give you all hot tips tonight, but I will say, I told you that I'm very bullish on agriculture. I am an advisor to a company which is headquartered in London called Agrofirma, which has been buying land in Brazil, fixing it up, and then hiring farmers to run it. Yes, you are exactly right. There are various and sundry parts of Brazil where one can do that. I will say that Brazil has recently tried to make it more difficult for foreigners to buy land, but it still can be done. I'm extremely optimistic about agriculture. Brazil is a huge country. Brazil is the same size as the 48 states. I mean, Brazil is not the size of Singapore or Malaysia or something. I mean, it's a huge, huge, huge country. It's almost as big as China. So the many parts of Brazil are going to make a fortune buying land. If you want to go to Brazil, I urge you to get out your books and start reading about Brazil, because there are many places that you can make a fortune in Brazil in agriculture or other things.
Brazil